What's up, everyone? Michelle Alexander here with a review of King Arthur Legends of the Sword on 4K UHD. I'm not going to review the movie, but I will tell you that I really quite love King Arthur Legend of the Sword a heck of a lot. Directed by Guy Ritchie, the movie is a fun throwback to old school action movies. There's no love story in it. It moves really fast. I kept thinking I was watching Snatched, which is a good thing because I really love Snatched, but it was also a bad thing because I never actually felt like midway through the movie I started not thinking I was watching a King Arthur movie. Because Guy Ritchie can't help himself. I mean, he used all the techniques that he used from Snatch in this movie. There are moments where Arthur is plotting, and there are a lot of quick shots to the actual plot unfolding, between the plot unfolding to him plotting, talking about how things are going to unfold. Things are like moving really quickly, but it also becomes kind of annoying because you're not sure if he's just kind of visualizing how things are going to happen or if things are actually happening the way he says they're going to happen. And no plot is perfect, of course, but it becomes kind of annoying after a while. But I really love this movie. Jude Law is really amazing. And I'm not a fan of Jude Law, but in this he's awesome. He's like the perfect villain. He chews scenery like no other's business. Never once are we supposed to feel sorry for him, although there is the moment in the movie where he's crying like a little baby. And I'm trying to figure out, wait, are we supposed to feel sorry for him after what he just did? I mean, it was really weird, but it was really... He's really awesome in this, and I really like Charlie Hunnam. He's great as Arthur. I love the girl who plays the mage. I love the fact that the story is actually a prequel, and because one of the problems I have with King Arthur is the third act, where basically it gets into all the incest stuff, the betrayal, searching for the Holy Grail, and all this other nonsense. So I always love the first two parts of King Arthur stories, but I always end up hating it because I can't stand the third act. The great thing about this movie is it does away with that entirely by making it a prequel, and while you're watching it, you don't know it's a prequel until the very end, because it starts off with them killing Mordred, so you're like, okay, I'm into this, I like it. I really love the music in this, the nice old Irish music that's part popish, part old school. I really like that. It works really well with this. The tone of the piece is it's not dark or grim or anything. It's kind of, and it's not lighthearted. It's just kind of like straight ahead action, and I like that about it. It moves at a really fast pace. I would actually give the movie, and I really love the fact that the sword Excalibur actually does something. It actually holds power. So when Arthur holds it, you actually see it lighting up. You see it imbuing him with power and all this other stuff. And that's really awesome. Because normally in King Arthur movies, they talk about how powerful the sword is, but the sword never actually does anything. It just kind of sits there, and the lady hands it to him, and you're like, I don't understand why this sword is so powerful. But in this movie, you really get to see it. So I really wish this movie did better at the box office because I would have loved to revisit this world. Luckily, we have the 4K UHD, but I would have loved to see what they would have done with the sequel. But alas, it's not going to happen because it didn't do well at the box office and it was a critical failure. But I love the movie. If you want to see a full, and I'm going to give this movie an A. If you want to see the full review, check out the video link below, because I did a 10-minute review when the movie was released, and also did a written review, I believe, at eclipsemagazine.com. So check out those two reviews. Anyway, definitely give the movie a solid A, and I know I said I wouldn't review it, but I just reviewed it, so deal with it. It's a solid A. I love it. The audio mix on this is stunning. It features Adobe Atmos soundtrack and a 7.1 DTS soundtrack, and it's really funny because in the opening sequence, it starts with the credit roll. It's the longest credit roll in history, like 15 minutes. But in the opening sequence, it opens really dark and gets some credits, and it's all silent. And I'm like, oh my God, something's wrong with my Blu-ray player, with my sound bar. I can't hear anything. And then all of a sudden you hear a little bit of sound. I'm like, something's wrong. I'm turning the volume up, turning it down, checking my connections. And then all of a sudden you see this elephant foot drop. Boom! And next thing you know, I'm like, whoa! And that foot that foot shook my apartment. It really did. The foot dropping was like, oh my God, that sounds amazing. And then next thing you know, the sound of the black levels come up, and you hear the sound of fighting coming from the back of you, from all around you, swords and clanging and arrows flying, and you're like this all over because it's coming from the left channels, the right channels, the front and the back. And again, I have a simulated, and I only have a 2.1 sound base, so all of this is simulated. I can only imagine how amazing this would sound on a full-scale setup. But on my setup, I was like blown away by how good that sounded. It was such an effective opening sequence because you go from straight silence to the chaos of battle, and you're kind of just thrown right into it, and just immense. Just does an amazing job of putting you in that space, in that virtual space, and it sounds great. And then when the elephant is swinging his trunk, you can hear the trunk kind of going left or right, and when the creature is like dragging some kind of club or something across the floor, you can hear it coming from behind you to the front, and it's a great mix. And there are a lot of moments in there are a lot of moments in this when that happens. That moment is truly demo worthy. But the problem is the movie isn't like that throughout the entire thing. So I don't know if I would give this a reference quality seal of approval, just because, you know, the movie is a really talking movie. It's a talking movie, but there are a lot of action sequences. But when you see that first opening sequence and you experience that, it's kind of hard not to want to give it a perfect audio grade. But I would give it a B+ because it really is good. When it's on point, it is on point. Shot in 3.4K, digital effects in 2K, and 2K digital intermediary transferred, upscaled to 4K. Those are your technical specs. Do you really care? I don't know why you do. What you want to know is, does the picture look good? And I'm here to tell you, yes. 90% of this movie is reference quality work. I mean, there are a couple of scenes where it's a little soft, a little fuzzy. Like in the beginning scene, as great as the audio mix was, there are a couple of moments in that opening sequence where it was a little soft, a little fuzzy, especially on the outside shots, like the hillsides of the castle. And when they go down to the water, I don't want to spoil anything, but when they go down into the water, it's a little fuzzy a little bit. And then in the very opening shot, when it's coming from black to showing you the first shots of the elephant, it's a little fuzzy and out of focus. And I think that was the point of it. But it's not, those sequences aren't reference quality, but the rest of the movie is wow. There are a lot of moments in this movie where the depth of field on the wide shots make you feel like you're watching glasses deep 3D. The depth is really amazing and stunning, and it looks sharp and clear. Like there's a sequence where they're riding on a horse after they rescue Arthur, and it's basically just a lot of wide angle shots of them going through the forest to get to their destination, and going through like barren forest and rich deep forest, and you actually see, it really feels like you're watching Glasses 3D in those sequences, because the depth of field is amazing and really nice. And then in the beginning, when he's a baby and he's riding, and the boat is riding through riding along the ocean, in a bunch of montage, in a really long montage where the credits are still kind of like going over the opening credits. It's like a 13-minute opening credit pre-roll or something. It's ridiculous. But the boat's slowly going down the river, and you see like he's a messiah or something, and you see all these different wide angle shots, quick shots. Those things look amazing, and the HDR is popping on this. The HDR is a true winner in this. There are a couple of sequences where it really shows off the power of HDR, not only in like the big obvious reasons, but in the subtle reasons as well. There's a moment in the movie where Arthur is talking to one of Vortigern's men, who's also one of his informants, and basically he's explaining how he got a Viking to pay him money, and he's telling the story, and again, in that annoying snatch way. but it's beautifully shot because it's basically Arthur and his men in this room, and when Arthur is standing against this pure black backdrop, and the other guy has a pure black background as well, but the lighting is amazing because the lighting is coming off at an angle and his face is lit really nice, and you can see the contrast of his coloring on the face and the light coming off against the inky black background, and then it goes right into the montage, the plan unfolding and it's switching back and forth, and HDR in that sequence looks stunning. I mean, you're like, wow, it's great. And then there are other moments when the HDR really works well too, like whenever he holds the sword, whenever he holds the Excalibur and the blue is lighting up on the Excalibur, that stuff is like blinding. You're like, back away. So yeah, the HDR on this really pops. I would say this thing is not just an uptick of the Blu-ray version. It's like night and day. It really is that good. So yeah, the HDR is definitely a winner. The picture quality is stunning. I won't call it a reference quality. It's just a skosh below than reference quality. And I don't know why I'm reluctant to call things reference quality, because I want to save it for something that's really going to wow me. And I will say this has a lot of stunning moments and a lot of reference quality moments. I mean, like the opening sequence is reference quality for Dolby Atmos and surround sound, and then if you strung together the wide shots into like a 8-minute supercut, that would be a reference quality demo for you guys. So yeah, and if you cut together some of the HDR moments, like again, like the climax when he's in the tower and stuff is lighting up all over the place, and the blue is just going up into the sky against the fire. You're like, oh my god, that stuff looks amazing. So yeah, with that said, it's not reference quality, but I would give it an A anyway. And it's reference quality A, yes. So yeah, in that case, it's reference quality work. I'm gonna raise a fist. It's reference quality work. Definitely give it an A.